This is a quick demonstration for how to knit with beads using the hooked on method. I have some larger beads here. These are size 3 seed beads and a very small steel crochet hook that easily fits into the center of my beads. I've started a little swatch. On this next row I'm going to show 2 different methods. And I'm going to start by just knitting a few stitches to get away from the edge. Now when it's time to put on my bead, I'm going to hook a bead onto my crochet hook. I'm going to hook the stitch by putting the hook in as if I'm going to purl and slipping the stitch over onto the hook. And then I want to get the yarn in the hook, kind of pull a bit and adjust the angle so that there's a straight line and just gently push the bead down. Now, method 1, I'm going to slide this stitch onto the right needle. So that stitch has been slipped. It was not knit or purled. It was just moved from one needle to the other with a bead popped on partway through. And I can do a couple more stitches, and let's do that one again. So here I'm going to get the bead on the hook. And you're always going to find a couple in there that just don't quite fit. So don't worry too much. You can save them for a different project. So get a different bead on my hook. I'm going to hook my stitch by slipping it purlwise. Really make sure I catch the yarn, give it a little tug so it's taut and not going to fall off or split, and then gently push the bead over the hook. This one's a little tight too, but I should be able to get it over the hook onto the stitch. No, just a little snug. All right, another bead for a different project. You will definitely find some variation. So let's get my stitch again, pull it taut, make it straight, and slide that bead down over. Nope. And then we want to put it on the right needle for this particular technique. So that's a bead on a slip stitch. There's a very small variation to this that makes your bead look a little different. So I'm going to again hook my bead. Actually, let's switch to the other color. Hook my bead. These ones are a little easier to fit too. Catch my stitch just like before. Make it taut, nice straight line. Push the bead onto the stitch. And now let's put the stitch onto my left-hand needle. So I haven't slipped it. I just paused and put a bead on it, put it right back where it was. Then we're going to knit that stitch. Again, let's do a couple more. Hook my bead, hook my stitch. Really make sure to catch that yarn first so it doesn't slide off or split as easily. And push your bead down, put it on the left-hand needle, and then I'm going to knit that stitch. So there are a couple benefits to the hooked on method. 1, you don't have to pre-string a whole lot of beads. And 2, you end up being able to place them. So if you have a whole lot of colors and you want to place them very specifically, you don't have to count them out in advance. You also have a bead that the whole of the bead goes vertical, and with some beads the direction is very important. And unlike when the beads are pre-strung on the yarn, and I have another video for that, in this technique there's 2 strands of yarn going through the bead, so it's a little bit stronger and less likely to droop. Now I'm just purling back a row so you can see what it looks like after I've gotten a little ways in. So I use different colors, so that's going to affect how this looks, but these beads where it's slipped, they're kind of sticking out more because the float of the yarn is passing behind them and pushing them forward. And these ones where the stitch was knitted, the beads sit back in the fabric and they're visible on both sides, which is a really nice benefit, whereas this one you don't really see the bead much. You can see a little glimmer through the gaps, but it's not a two-sided effect. So give them both a try, see what you like. It'll depend on your project, your yarn, your bead, the colors, all of that. Have fun!